Perfect. Today on the London Tech New York podcast, I have with me Prachi Garg, who's a product leader and one of the very early members of Women in Product in the UK. And Prachi will talk about her journey, her experience, her career, and how the product management landscape has changed. So, Prachi, warm welcome to you on our podcast. Finally, we managed to speak after 3 months of aligning diaries.
Thank you. Thank you, Atal, for inviting me. Yeah, I'm quite excited to share my experience at London Tech New York and very excited to share my experience across the globe. I am Prachi Garg. I started my career around 20 years back in India. I'm born and brought up in India. I did my undergrad in India, but I always wanted to do more. And that curiosity led me to move to the America to pursue my passion. And then after completing my MBA, I transitioned from engineering into product management and moved to UK in 2008. So over the past 15 years, I have had the opportunity to launch amazing products for companies like Expedia, Amazon, and mainly focusing on building high performing teams and I also wanted to grow in a leadership role. So today I'm working as a product leader in a company called Planet Payment, which is focusing on hospitality. And I focus a lot of my energy nowadays on empowering product teams and driving innovation and creating meaningful customer experiences. So when I'm not working, I spend a lot of time actually mentoring women in product. I'm a part of a few leadership community like Women in Product, Chief, CPO Track, and that actually keep me motivated and keep going.
Fantastic. That's a very stellar introduction, Prachi. I think great career, and I can actually see some trends. People we interview usually have worked across India, US, and UK, so we cover all the three markets. We never planned for that. It just happened. So good that we have that. You have a very I would say a very focused D2C product career and experience. And I think without anything, let's just dive into the most important question that everyone is keen on. A D2C product management as a space is quite ripe for transformation, for change, for supplement or help from all the word around AI and generative AI. So, as a product leader, I think where do you see are the initial areas? What are the key focuses, key things that you're working on, and share something around that in terms of your views on AI and where do you see AI kind of entering the product management area and impacting the PMs?
Yeah, I mean, AI is not new. It's been there for many years, right? So the AI has become quite popular since Gen AI from the last few years when everyone started using from a consumer space, right? The AI exists, but it was only available to data engineers to play with AI and build personalization recommendation for companies. So in direct to consumer, when in Amazon, in Skyscanner, we build a lot of personalized experience using machine learning and then eventually using AI to build more personalization recommendation to consumers. But now today, as you saw, us like how AI is transforming the today's product management in D2C, what it making it possible now quite efficient for product managers to operate in a complex, ambiguous space. For example, you as a product manager, you go through the whole life cycle of design thinking, research, execution, and analytic, and then also get after that measuring the metrics. With the use of AI, you actually become more efficient. So there are so many tools which are available which can help you to do this job in a much efficient time. So for example, I use a lot of products like Chat PRE to create the product PRDs,
Right.
Claude to do a lot of research, which is quite easy now to do is to summarize. I also use a lot of ChatGPT tools as well to understand the insight. And it also helps to build your prototype quite faster. So if you want to test something, you can
Of
do it.
course.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think in the D2C words, I would say that the way we had a lot of people in the team to work on something with the use of Gen AI, you can actually reduce the number of resources you are investing and build some product. You can make it more efficient and much faster.
Great, fantastic, great advice, Prachi. Just turning around and asking about your early experience when you were at Amazon Expedia and you were actually a hands-on product manager. One trend that I've seen is a lot of, if I have to put PMs on tracks, I think there's one tried and tested track which is PM at a big tech and then going on to become a leader. That's where you fall, and then there are engineering people as well. Do you see there are kind of advantages, disadvantages to both tracks to product leadership, global product leadership role at some point? And do you want to share anything on that?
If I understand correctly, that what you're saying, both engineering and product can become a product leader in a smaller. Yeah, actually, yes. So last year, what we have seen, and again, I think is maybe impact of AI or impact of Gen AI. A lot of CPO roles are transitioning into CPTO roles.
Yeah,
And what it means is that you have a one single threaded owner, which is an Amazon concept, kind of like to bring it all together under one person in a small organization. So, in my view, any tech lead as well as any product lead can be a CPTO, but one person cannot drive both the organization. So, when someone coming from tech lead and become a CPTO, they need a strong product leader under that person to drive the product
of
organization,
course,
and
of
similar
course.
the other way around. So, I think opportunity is there, and I feel like I know a lot of people from Amazon who was a engineering leader and tech person, and they are now CPTO.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the same time, they have a strong product leader to help them navigate their product complexity.
Yeah. So that's a very interesting thing that you talked about. So essentially, you see both the things coming together and both product and tech leaders merging into a CPTO role, which means significant upskilling needed on product leaders side if you're not a technical person, and similarly getting the product mindset if you are from an engineering background. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I agree. I think being a product leader, and I always say I started my career as a developer. For me, I always keep myself up to date with the technology so that if I take a role of CPT in the future, so I don't feel like, okay, I don't understand it. So it's very important when you become a
Yeah,
VP of product or director of product, you work very closely with your peer who is leading technology so that you understand the concept of all your tech stack as well, like tech
yeah,
debt as well as DevOps. So try to understand everything
of
which
course.
you to become a good CPT or if that's the role
Yeah.
people would like to take.
One thing I can share very candidly is personally, I sometimes feel massive imposter syndrome because just like you, I have a technical background, but I haven't been any hands on, I've not done any hands on coding for the past 10 odd years. And now, when I have those deep discussions with my engineers, with my data scientists, I think talking about all those methodologies and the code and the R and Python, I think sometimes I do feel, what if I don't know something. So I do feel that imposter syndrome, which is basically a sign that I need to really upskill faster. So, what would your advice be to people who are starting out or maybe junior PMs if they have to focus on one area? Or do you think that now it's become really important to be a good product, to have a good product mindset, but at the same time, a very technical, strong technical background?
Um, I would say, and I personally would advise that all the product managers should learn technology in a way they understand technology. So, because even if they're building a software product, they need to understand the jargons, how it works. They don't need to code, but they need to understand the new languages coming. For example, if you are writing a, I don't know, I was trying lovable tool today and I was trying to create an app, right? So if you try to create an app, still there's a code generated
Of
and you need
course,
to feel. So imposter syndrome, I also have a lot of imposter syndrome because sometimes I don't understand exactly what's happening. I think curiosity, ask questions and everyone is willing to help. And you have a Gen AI, ChatGPT, and that can teach you
there to
coding.
help.
It is the easiest language, right? So you can, I think basics is, I think the challenge, what I see and I have seen in previous companies and current company and maybe in futuristic companies, sometimes, as you said, like they are scared of getting into that area and feel like we don't know, we haven't done the engineering degree, we don't know how to understand this concept. But I think it's easy. It's not that hard. You're not doing, it's the logic, right? So if you're logical enough, you
Of
understand.
course. Yeah. That's a very good answer. Thank you, Prachi. How do you compare working at a big tech company? Because I think there's a big, I would say, bias towards big FANG companies and the I would say maybe unicorns or those, not the big tech, but the others as well. Do you think there's a massive difference, and is there something that people really gain in those organizations that they don't have in others? Anything you want to share on the comparison of the two tracks?
Yeah, I think I can tell you from my personal experience. So when I worked in Expedia and then Amazon, and that was early stage of my career, I learned a lot. It was a steep learning curve for me to learn the product management, but also learn from experts, right? The Amazon is doing product management since ages. Their people are super smart, super intelligent. You learn a lot. So, and what I do now, what I've learned from Amazon and Expedia, I try to use that learning into small tech unicorn companies where I worked in last few years. The difference, what I saw in working in Amazon versus other companies, if you are working in a startup, you will see that a lot of people are not coming from a product background, right? So, they may be an engineer, they may be some other domain experts. So they need a lot of coaching, learning, mentoring to do product management. That's the gap I see, but it depends on the company how the people are being hired, right? Some companies I worked in, they are super smart product managers hired from
Of course.
not from big tech, but from a product management concept. So that's the difference. And sometimes it's really important if you join mid to small size company, keep your expectation low or the expectations you have from the big tech company. So,
Yeah.
so that's the big difference.
Yeah. Um, no, definitely very helpful. Maybe a double clicking on that. Do you think that difference is becoming smaller and smaller, and that entire, I would say, bias but admiration of working or desire to work in big tech has is probably maybe because of the monetary element and the stock options and the value up the 10x valuation, which is now more possible with unicorns or scale ups. Do you think that's changing or that trend's there? Or do you think that there's still a massive kind of bias towards the big FAANG companies?
I mean, I left Amazon around 6 years back, so I don't know exactly what's happening in current FAANG ecosystem, but I have seen there's a lot of bias towards now unicorns. So a lot of people want to work in Coinbase, or maybe Snap or Spotify. Netflix is another one. Yeah, so I think there are other tech companies which are a lot of emerging people, and they provide similar stock option in the value which you get from FANG. So the craze for FANG, I don't know, or I don't think it exists as much as it was when I was there 10
Yeah,
years ago. But now, as you said, right? So with Unicorn, it's not only about the monetary value. I think it's more of a scale and big, right? People would like to work
of
in a
course.
company we can then run on scale, solve complex problems. There are companies who are actually doing it, like OpenAPI, another one, right? So it's such a big, amazing organization. Someone wants to work there.
Definitely. Would you go back to Amazon if tomorrow you get an opportunity to go back?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. So, I mean, if there's an opportunity and good one, I don't know.
You worked in US, UK, originally from India. Now there are a lot of tech companies based in India as well. Ever thought of going back or taking up more senior low role there, maybe like a CPO of a very large organization? Any thoughts on that?
In India, I
Yeah,
think India is a amazing market to be honest nowadays because it's growing vast. A lot of startups are coming, and a lot of smart people actually move to India to work in a organization. I know a lot of friends who move to India, and personally, would I go or not? I think I have a lot of responsibilities.
of course.
So I might not be able to go back, but in our house, we always have a conversation, should we go back? Maybe after retirement, we'll go back and when my kids are settled.
For people to know, like Prachi has two lovely daughters. They're twins, right?
Yes, seven
The
years.
twins, yes, yes. So that they are what keep Prachi busy. So, but I think isn't that a conversation that's there in every Indian's house who's living outside India? That should we go back to India? I'm sure everyone, all of us, have that conversation at least once every month with our partners, with our families, and we. That's a question that never gets answered. That's always there. It's become one of those never solvable maths problem, the seven problems, I think something like that. But okay, that's good. Prachi, what are your thoughts on the startup ecosystem outside of India, comparing that to India and people who are working there, given the option if you want to work in a startup or you want to aspire to, let's say, go to a FANG company, which would give them a a higher chance of success or becoming a product leader globally?
For people who are living in India?
People who are in India, yes, I see a lot of people coming from India to a lot of other countries as well, taking up roles. Not just US, UK, but Germany's coming up. Berlin has a lot of tech companies as well. So does Amsterdam. So, any thoughts on that?
I think it's the other way around, right? If you're coming from India, what are the things companies would look at when they hire a product leader in developed countries? That's an interesting one. I think what people start seeing, like what problems these companies are trying to solve when they are in developed countries, right? So, for example, if any company is building offshore engineering team, that's a good example for someone to approach these organizations. See, if you're building these, I'm a product leader, I can help you do onshore and offshore model. That's a good, interesting one. And also looking at organization who are looking to hire diverse talent, and also that could be an interesting one. But eventually, I feel like product leaders are the quite similar across globally and
Sure.
organization. I have a lot of friends who are good product leader in India. One of my good friend work in Uber as well in India. So the knowledge and the skills which require to be a product leader, it's quite similar. So it's
Same.
not a
Yeah.
challenge. It's more around like how do you approach this organization and showcase your value, what how can
Yeah.
you help them to achieve their
Yeah.
vision and like and grow their organization.
Absolutely. Definitely very helpful. One question that I ask everyone is looking at where you are right now, and let's say you go back to the 20-year-old Prachi who's just graduating from engineering. Do you think this is what you would have thought, that becoming a product leader at one of the tech companies in London and doing all the stuff with women in product and chief and CPO track and other things that you do?
Did I think about it? Yeah, I mean, I always have big ambitions and I always have 10 years plan. Today also I have a 10 years plan. I have my vision board. I keep writing it down. So when I was in engineering, my short-term plan is to go to America and start earning more, 10 times more earning. When I was doing in America, my goal was to go do an MBA in 5 years' time, work in a big tech company. So I always have a plan, like 5 to 10 years plan. So did I envision whether I was working in a CPO track, women in leadership? Maybe not, but I knew that I'm going to do something which is amazing and helping people around. So I always wanted to help people. So, and I never discuss it, but I want to work for sometime, but when don't have financial responsibility. So maybe one day. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and the having a vision and really helps me.
Wow, that's very planned. That's very strategic. I don't have a plan for the next 5 years, but what is the 10-year plan, Prachi? Where do you see yourself in that 10 years?
But the truth is, the plan you sometimes you achieve your plan, sometimes you don't. But yeah, in 10 years' time, I mean, I've been thinking about it from the last few months, and I really actually want to be a kind of advisor,
Okay,
maybe in some in PE company or VC company.
right.
I like diversity, I like challenges, and maybe that's the role I would like to do in 10 years' time when I can help the organizations to grow. But I don't know, I'm still figuring it out what's the path to go there.
That's a very good answer, and definitely given me some food for thought for my future career planning.
Maybe we can plan together.
We can probably. If I have to ask you, maybe just looking at your overall career, if I have to ask you to just highlight top three skills or things that you really honed on, things that you really did like spend a lot of time on doing that are in a way responsible for your success and for where you are, what would you say those three things would be, Prachi?
Thanks. I think one thing I really can say the communication. I really, I was very afraid of public speaking. I did a lot of work on Toastmaster, voice coaching. I started doing a lot of podcasts. I started speaking in public. So that's the one thing I'm still working on it.
Yeah,
I think that's something which can really
you're
help.
doing very well, by the way, so well done.
Thank you. And that's what I would always say, especially for people who are coming from India. I
Yeah,
would say that's really
exactly.
the key thing because English is not your first language, and sometimes we have a habit of speaking quite fast, and so all these things. Second thing is like knowledge learning. I am continuous learner, so I read a lot, and I was not a reader. I hate reading when I was a kid. Last, I would say 6 to 7 years, I started a habit of reading something every day. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. So my growth is all dependent on the learning and the
Of
knowledge
course.
acquired through reading a lot of stuff. So I think that's real, and and that because of curiosity. Uh, Third skill, I think be more patient. So I think it's a combination of both. When you become a manager or leader, plus when you become a parent, I think both these taught me to be more patient. I'm a very less patient. I don't have any patience, so but now I have a lot. So that's the third skill I would say.
But I don't think we can ever have so much patience. There are always scenarios, there are edge cases, those situations that really test your patience, and then you say, I don't have any patience. So I still have those moments. So be it with my little one or be it at work as a product manager, your patience is always tested. There's never enough patience as a PM.
But I think now since you're a new parent, you will learn a lot. And she's a girl or a boy? Girl, right?
Girl, yeah, baby girl.
Yeah. So you will learn a lot in next 7 years.
Thank you. That's helpful. Okay, Prachi, any advice to people who are aspiring for a career like yourself? I'm sure there are a lot of people just looking at the users who have a technical background, especially in India. That's one of the key preferred options. Do your engineering because everyone does that. And then people always go for an MBA. So pretty much everyone's kind of suited for a role in product management. If you have to give any advice to people, what would you say?
I think it's again my personal opinion. You don't need an MBA to do a product. So I would say that if you want to work as a product manager and if you have done engineering, that the added value, you can start working as a product manager with the help of product leaders in your organization. And the product management is a job which you can do better if you do it more. So you don't need an MBA for doing a product management.
That's a very good advice.
But the MBA helps you to understand the concept of running a business, which is a
Of
key for
course.
product management. If you have that skill set, if you have that, how do I say it? The curiosity to learn the businesses, if you
Of
can
course.
read
The commercial acumen, I would say.
exactly, if you can read financial statement, you understand by how the companies are making money, what things are.
Yeah,
So that's what you need to be a product manager.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't imagine having a conversation with my CFO without the financial concepts, and I think without the formal education, I wouldn't have learned everything so much. So I think that's definitely super helpful. Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think running after an MBA, being a product manager, I wouldn't think is necessary.
Okay. Fun question. If you would have to ask ChatGPT or AI to describe Prachi, what would they say? Maybe give me three quirky, funny side of Prachi.
Any side of Prachi, I mean, mean mummy.
I pray for your daughter, good little girls. Okay.
Well, always running around.
Okay.
I don't know what's the third one. I think third one, I don't know, it's funny, but they get the job done. That's what I believe in. I always get the job done. I don't know. Maybe a funny side with the woman. I don't know, with the woman with the good job done.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Prachi, for your time. I think we had a really good conversation, and I'm sure the viewers gonna love this.
Thank you, Atul, for inviting me, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for asking these questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.